okay, everyone listening, when you hear someone say stripe or strape, and you hear anyone talk about CFD token or things like that, you know they've been following Richard for a while.
Yeah. The CFD token days. He had that one professor on that, he did a long interview. I don't know if he still has that video up, but you can
The
go back to
website's
that.
up.
Oh, okay.
CFDtoken.net, I think, is still up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just to kind of wrap your head around where Richard's head was at the time. If you are curious about that kind of stuff, watch that interview. I can't remember what that he's like the guy that he interviewed. He's like this super smart PhD, crazy successful, cited
David
many times for
something.
his research. Yeah, so it's good to see because it wasn't all about Hex at the time. He had to pivot to Hex because he's like, okay, first you need the money, then you can save the world. And I was like, I agree. Money is a tool, and people don't understand that. A lot of times they think money is something else, or well, actually, I can't understand why they don't understand it because
they don't teach it.
Well, they don't teach it, but money, they print it whenever, so it seems worthless, so there's no value. You don't see the work that you do. It's supposed to represent your time invested, right? That if I work as an engineer for 9 hours out of a day, for 365 days, or on a salary job, like that transfers into money, and I hold it as money, and then I can spend it elsewhere. But when they print trillions of dollars, now it's like, well, all that time and energy I spent, it's not worth that. And so the meaning gets lost.
It's a beautiful way of looking at it too, because if you see it that way, if you truly, because I think a lot of people, they could hear that phrase, they could hear what you just said 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And they could go to sleep listening to it. They could wake up in the morning listening to it. Yeah. But if you don't understand the words behind it, and you don't understand how it actually affects your life and how it takes away from your energy, and your time and all these things, like you just won't get it. And then maybe one day, if you're lucky, you'll wake up and be like, oh shit, I get it now. But there's so many people, they can hear that from 50 different people, 50 different ways, and they still don't quite grok what it means to them. And but they'll tweet it, they'll keep repeating it, they'll say it, which is fine. But it's just such a tragedy that most people, even though they have access to the information, I said, they don't teach it. Even if they teach it, most people, the 1% is real, people. The 1% is real. There's a 1% in all kinds of different verticals.
Yeah.
Money, obviously that's the one that gets all the popularity or all the news press and stuff. But the 1% of people who understand things such as Hex, things such as money, things such as what Josh Sheep was just saying, I mean, that's real. I mean, if you're in that 1%, consider yourself lucky and pay it forward. Make sure other people are grokking what you're into, and that's what we're trying to do with streaming too, like getting these ideals out there like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of what is the term? NPCs, non-player characters. Like, people are just they're drones. Like, I have good friends that I've tried to tell them for the past 12 years, like this is not what you think it is. Like the way the system works is not the way you think it works. They just have a very naive, like, high school education of how everything is, and they don't get it. They won't get it. It's not like they're incapable of that they're dumb or anything. It's just that there's like all these barriers. Like it's actually, it takes a lot of brain power and a lot of time, and like you really have to struggle with these ideas. And I just feel like people don't want to have to struggle with that when they have so many other concerns in their life. So it is almost like for some people who have the privilege to be able to spend some time to think about it, they get it. But there's so many problems that we have. Like, people are working nonstop to make ends meet. They have kids, or they have all these other things. They really don't have the time to invest in these things. So like, I don't actually have, like, I understand when people just watch mainstream media or corporate media, and they internalize it because they don't have the time to figure it out for themselves.
Is that the tragedy of convenience, or because everyone wants that, right? Everyone wants that summary, but so everyone wants the good summary. But if they can't control the content or the quality, but they can control when they get it and how they get it, then maybe they'll just take anything, like mainstream media, right? Like they summarize what's going on, even though it's far from the truth 99% of the time. No one's going to go do all the research to get it. So when you optimize for convenience, which is natural, everybody wants it. That's the thing. Like, you can't call people dumb for doing that, because you want the same thing. It's just you pay attention more to the quality side, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wish there's a lot of things that could change. And I think it starts with education. Education is probably where all of these tendencies start, where you're told what to do. You have to raise your hand to speak. There's a time and a place. You have to learn history at this hour. You have to learn math at this hour.
Yeah.
Everything's regimented. And so they, it gets indoctrinated into them until they're 18, And so I really am very much against public schooling. And I think that's where it starts. But then once you have that foundation, it's very easy to control people throughout the rest of their lives. Because if I start talking about like the Bolshevik Revolution or French Revolution, people, they want to feel like they understand history because they were told that they passed high school. So of course they get history. Of course they know what communism is. But when you bring these ideas to them, or you say, well, the Nazis were actually socialists, like these, that's in the term Nazi in itself, that's what it means. It's like they want to say they know this, but they don't really know it. And it's just because they were told that, hey, you're smart. Yeah, you got an A. Hey, you passed high school. Like you get it, but you don't. And so.
Yeah, it's like I kind of analogize high school. I guess all grade 12 education as you're gonna be, your highest aspiration is to be a really good factory worker. Like you're gonna be really good to do what you're told, and but it's funny how does that create the opportunity for people who are again in that 1% of people who want more. They don't believe the system. They don't want to just be spoon-fed the information. They question things. They're contrarian. They're all these different alternate ways of looking at the world other than what you're told and taught and stuff all the life. Does that